Hey there, guys. Alright, today we are back with some more Vati, and this time we are getting the first sin explained to us from Dark Souls 2. Now, remember, I will be playing Dark Souls 1 eventually. I am preferably waiting for it to go on sale before picking it up, just because my personal tastes, I don't think I'm gonna get see the value out of it for 40 bucks, whereas I do think if it's on sale, I'll probably get more enjoyment out of it, right? Just because of the, cost to time spent uh kind of ratio of the games I enjoy, blah blah blah, that sort of thing, right? I kind of pretty much most of the games I buy these days are on sale. I don't really want to spend $40 on a game as old as Dark Souls 1, you know? So, waiting for it to go on sale. And then I will be diving into it. Um and then I'll probably also just pick up the rest of the Souls series. Like, might as well at this point, right? So, yeah. And I will, stuttering. When I do finally begin my playthrough of Dark Souls 1, I will definitely be announcing it in videos, annoying the fuck out of you guys here on YouTube, pretty much saying in every video that I am playing Dark Souls 1, so that you guys will not be caught unawares that I had played it and then never told you. Don't gotta worry about that. But if you do want to catch me live and see me eventually play it, whenever it goes on sale, you can go and follow me over at Twitch. And then if you are unable to catch my live streams, you can subscribe to my two YouTube channels here, my two other YouTube channels here on YouTube. One is the stream VODs, so that will be the full length content of Dark Souls playthrough. And then the other will be edited content. I'm sure I'll probably maybe get one edited video out of Dark Souls 1. Maybe two. I don't know. We'll see. So, yeah. Go do all that stuff. With that said, let's get the first sin explained.
As flame rises, so does it fade. Such is the way of things.
Light and dark. Neither can fade while the other survives.
Ooh, his audio is very low.
This is the law of the Dark Souls universe, and all the characters within are bound by its principles. But it was not always this way. Once, long ago, the world was grey, without heat, cold, life, death, light or dark. But then the first flame appeared.
After the advent of fire, the ancient
Bro's got chompers. Holy shit. And why does this lizard thing have a mustache of skin?
lords found the three souls, but your progenitor found a fourth, unique soul, the Dark Soul. Your
That's the name of the game.
ancestor claimed the Dark Soul and waited for fire to subside, and soon the flames did fade, and only dark remained. Thus began the Age of Men, the Age of Dark.
This was the natural progression that was supposed to take place in the world. It was supposed to be the Age of Ancients, and then the Age of Fire, then the Dark Age of Man.
However, Lord Gwyn trembled at the dark, clinging to his Age of Fire and in dire fear of humans and the Dark Lord who would one day be born amongst them. Lord Gwyn resisted the course of nature by sacrificing himself to link the fire and commanding his children to shepherd.
Or, in doing so, did he create the path that the world was supposed to be sent on? Like the kind of, when you try to avoid prophecy or fate or whatever, you end up causing it, that sort of thing. That's my guess. Based on how Miyazaki has written things before, in my understanding of Miyazaki's writings, that seems like a thing that Miyazaki would do.
The humans.
There's a
Gwyn
reason why that trope is fairly popular with that sort of thing, right? Trying to avoid fate, but only to cause it. It's a good one. It's a good one. It's a good trope.
has blurred your past to prevent the birth of the Dark Lord.
What Gwyn did could be called the first sin, for he resisted the course
The way he moves is fucking funny. Watch the way he walks, like kind of waddles.
What Gwyn did could be called
Watch us run,
the
watch us run.
first sin, for he resisted the course of nature. He forced the darkness back, and from this moment forth the light and the dark have been in a constant ebb and flow, like the rising and the falling of the tide. In the ending of Dark Souls 1, we are a part of this flow. The world is in the grip of darkness, filled with broken
Oh, stabbed him in the dick.
and tired characters. We tear through the remains of their fragile world and are guided to the kiln of the first flame. Here we have a choice. We can do the same thing Gwyn did and bolster the power of the flame with our own soul, or we can turn our back on the dying light and let darkness grip the world. Before Dark Souls 2, we thought that these endings were polar opposites, but we were wrong. The choice
I don't like that. Get those fucking chompers away, dude.
itself is irrelevant, and whether you linked the flame or whether you turned your back on it, your choice would have led to the events of Dark Souls 2. It would have led to the kingdom of Drangleic, where our character exists. Drangleic was once a proud kingdom of light, but it has fallen into darkness and decay like the countless kingdoms before it.
No flame, however brilliant, does not one day splutter and fade. But then, from the ashes, the flame reignites, and a new kingdom is born, sporting a new face. It is all a curse. And it is your cursed flesh that will inherit the flame.
In the ending of Dark Souls 2, we once again arrive at the kiln to either link the fire or let the world fade into darkness.
Once the fire is linked, souls will flourish anew, and all of this will play out again. It is your choice to embrace or renounce this.
The Emerald Herald pushes us to link the fire, for she wishes to be free of the curse. It reminds me of Anastasia from Dark Souls 1, a firekeeper who also wished for us to link the fire.
Framt has told me of you, that you have agreed to link the fire. I thank you sincerely. Finally, the curse of the undead will be lifted, and I can die human.
To link the fire is to become free of the curse of the undead, and if linking the fire frees us of the curse, then it does follow that the initial linking of the fire, the thing that started all of this, is related to the curse. Aldia says as much, after all.
Once the Lord of Light banished dark and all that stand from humanity. And men assumed a fleeting form. These are the roots of our world.
What Aldia is saying is that when Gwyn linked the fire and banished dark, man became much less. He says that man assumed a fleeting form. Fleeting means temporary, so I take this to mean that Gwyn reduced mankind's existence in some way. But what exactly? Did he make them mortal?
But mankind is fleeting. Humans are temporary because we die.
Did he place the undead curse upon them, causing them to return to their hollow state? And as far as I know, there's nothing in the game that explicitly explains what Gwyn's linking of the flame did to man. My current theory is that Gwyn actually linked the fire to humanity, which would explain a lot. By doing this, he could feed the flame with humanity's souls, plus it would explain why we respawn at the bonfire, why we kindle the bonfire, and why we're drawn to it even though our nature is inherently dark. Egdane says,
In the past, humans were one with the dark.
and we are one with it no longer.
Men are props in state of life, and no matter how tender, how explicit, a lie will remain a lie.
Men became something to be used. You can hear the fury in his voice when he says this, because Aldia realizes that men were supposed to inherit the world, but they can't, because the world seems stuck in a cycle of light and dark. Men had everything taken from them, but this defines them. They are fateless, but they still want for more, and so they loved, they lost, and they achieved, all within the bounds of their desire.
Peace grants men the illusion of life.
While the flame is at its height, and the world is peaceful, mankind seems able to die. We know this because the curse of undeath is always listed as something that appears, rather than something that has always existed. Usually, this happens sometime after the fire has been linked, perhaps as soon as it begins to fade. For example, Gwyn was undone long after he linked the fire, and similarly, Vendrick started to fear the curse after his reign had begun. He began to fear men who would not die, men who were cursed to return to their hollow state.
Shackled by falsehoods, they yearn for love, unaware of its grand illusion. Until the curse touches their flesh. We are bound by this yoke. As true as the dark that turns within men.
This is the fate that the Emerald Herald, Vendrick, and Anastasia want to avoid by linking the fire. They want to be free from the curse of the undead so that they can become human and die.
I mean,
better to die than to become a soulless husk like you see in the trailer. So in the original ending of Dark Souls 2, you could choose to link the fire, or you could choose to let it fade. Both are irrelevant, because the world of Dark Souls 2 is defined by the countless civilizations that have risen and fallen. This one ending, where you ascend the throne, and the Emerald Herald tells you you can link the fire, or walk away from it, is the same as the two endings of Dark Souls 1.
huh? Yeah?
Because whether you link the fire or extend the Age of Dark, you become part of the cycle. So Dark Souls 2 gives you no in-game choice to be made, because in this game, you are supposed to have learned that there is no significant choice to be made. If you link the fire, the cycle renews, and if you choose not to, eventually an undead will rise who can unseat you and link the fire. That's who your character in Dark Souls 2 is, after all. Vendrick was the Lord of Light before you, but after spending countless years researching the curse, he realized that it was all futile. His soul's description says that he is the one who should have linked the fire, but he became overwhelmed by despair and seems to have accepted the darkness instead.
One day fire will fade, and dark will become a curse. Men will be free from death, left to wander eternally. Dark will again be ours, and in our true shape, we can bury the false legends of yore.
Vendrick is inclined to believe that there are two choices, to link the fire or let it fade. He believes that by accepting the darkness, the world will eventually pass into an age of man built around their dark souls.
Only, is this our only choice?
And while it is true that we have never seen exactly what happens once the flame fades entirely, Aldia is a character who believes that it never will.
Young Arlo, there are but two paths. Inherit the order of this world, or destroy it. Only a true monarch can make such a choice.
To link the fire or to let it fade. These aren't two choices, they're one. This is what Aldia calls inheriting the order of the world. It's the order Gwyn began long ago when he linked the flame, forcing the darkness and the light into a constant ebb and flow, a cycle that would repeat itself throughout the centuries. But Aldia tells us of a second choice, not to inherit the order of the world, but to destroy the cycle entirely. And this is exactly the ending Dark Souls 2 needed, for we are the one undead in history who is able to ignore the hollowing effects of the curse. And in my previous video on this topic, I told you about the effects of gathering the 3 crowns from the DLC. When you have the 3 crowns, it doesn't cure the undead curse, it stops you from hollowing. And once you have united the crowns of lords long past, you have the ability to ignore your fate. You can now exist outside of the cycle. For while
Okay, so this is an instance of do the DLC before finishing the game?
every other undead is immortal, you are the only one who will never be broken by the curse, and you are the one who will never hollow.
Many monarchs have come and gone. One drowned in poison, others turned to flame. Still another slumbers in the realm of earth. Not one of them stood here as you do now. You, conqueror of adversities. Give us your answer.
Throughout the entire game, we've been told that we do what we do without really knowing why. But that is exactly what it means to be man. It's exactly what is required of you in the end. For there is no path, and we are the one undead who can forge forward, forging a new path and bringing us into a new age. Not an age of ancients which passed naturally, not an age of fire which Gwyn failed to implement, nor an age of dark which Nishandra perished by. We are the true monarch, who cannot perish, who cannot hollow, and we seek to break free of the cycle, to march forward bravely into an uncertain future.
I am so confused. Don't tell me that's a fucking end, Vati.
There is no path. Beyond the scope of light, beyond the reach of dark, what could possibly await us? And yet we seek it insatiably. Such is our fate. Insatiably.
You fucking see. I don't know what just happened, man. I don't know what just happened. What? Okay. I'm left more confused than when I entered this video. So I don't know. I don't know what to think, but that was Dark Souls 2, the first sin explained. Not really. I felt like I got nothing explained. I don't know. So yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Remember to hit that like button and subscribe for more, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.